Hey, welcome to the Explainer. Our goal here is simple. We break down big topics using clear, straightforward visuals. So, you've assembled a brilliant team for your next big software project. Fantastic. But now what? How do you actually organize them to guarantee success? It's not just about who you hire. It's really about how you structure them, and maybe even more importantly these days, where they do their work from.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to tackle both the how and the where of team organization. First, we'll look at 3 core team structures. Then we'll get into the whole phenomenon of virtual teams. After that, we'll dig into the good stuff, the advantages of going virtual, and finally, we'll balance it out by looking at the challenges. Sound good? Let's go.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the how. We're going to explore 3 really fundamental models for structuring a project team. And what's interesting is that each one has a totally different philosophy on how work should actually get done. So first on our list is a real classic, the chief programmer team. Think of it as a very traditional top-down hierarchy. The whole idea behind this model was to stop big, messy software projects from turning into complete chaos. How? By putting one single expert, the chief programmer, in charge of all the big design decisions. The buck stops with them. And you can really see how this works, right? The key concept is a super clear, strict chain of command. Yeah, the chief programmer has a support team helping out with things like coding or documentation, but at the end of the day, everything flows straight up to them. It's a model that's all about maintaining control and making sure everything is consistent. Okay, now let's flip that idea completely on its head and look at the polar opposite, the independent or democratic team. This model just flattens the whole hierarchy. Poof, it's gone. There's no single boss, and the idea is that every single person on the team has an equal say in the decisions. And just look at how the communication flows here. It's not a pyramid at all. It's more like a web. Any team member can talk to any other team member directly. Now, this is awesome for collaboration, right? But you can probably see the downside. As the team gets bigger, this can create a ton of communication overhead. It can get messy fast. So, you've got the strict hierarchy on one side and the open web on the other. What if you want the best of both worlds? What if you want some of that structure, but also that amazing collaboration? Well, that leads us right to our third option. And here it is, the mixed control team. This is all about finding that perfect middle ground. So you'll still have a project manager at the very top, kind of guiding the ship, but underneath them, you have these smaller, agile, democratic sub-teams. It's a really clever attempt to blend that top-down control with bottom-up flexibility and innovation. Okay, so we've covered the how, the different ways to structure a team. Now let's pivot to a completely different but just as critical question, the where. Where are these people actually supposed to do the work? There's one simple answer to that question. Send the developers home. Now, I know that might sound a little extreme, but there's actual research to back this up. It turns out all the noise and distractions of a typical open office are directly linked to more coding mistakes. The quiet and focus you can get at home, that can be a total game changer for a programmer's productivity. And hey, it's not just about fewer mistakes. When an organization decides to go virtual, it unlocks some seriously powerful advantages. This is a really important point. Going virtual is way more than just a perk for employees. It's a huge strategic move for a company. Think about it. All of a sudden, your talent pool is the entire planet. You can bring in a world-class specialist for just one specific job. And maybe the biggest one, you can slash your overhead costs. We're talking office rent, utilities, you name it. But the benefits don't just stop at saving money. Nope. There are also some major boosts to productivity when your team isn't all stuck in the same building. This is where it gets really cool. On one hand, you have individual developers who are just way more productive because they're not dealing with constant office interruptions. But on a team level, you can create a system that basically works around the clock. Just imagine it. A team in Europe finishes their day and hands off a task to a team in North America, who then hands it off to a team in Asia. You're literally making progress on your project 24 hours a day. Okay, so it all sounds amazing, right? Well, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Managing a team that you can't actually see in person, that brings a whole new set of challenges to the table, and you have to tackle them head on. I mean, just think about it. In an office, if you have a quick question, you just walk over to someone's desk. You can't do that remotely. This means that things like crystal clear instructions, really good documentation, and super specific task assignments become absolutely critical. You have to remove all ambiguity, because ambiguity is the #1 enemy of a virtual team. And then, of course, you've got the human side of things. How do you build trust and a real sense of team when you're not physically together? It's tough. You also have to be way more deliberate about checking the quality of the work. And remember that 24/7 work cycle we talked about? If you don't manage it just right, it can easily turn into a communication disaster.
This little grid here does a great job of spelling out the communication challenge. See that top left box? Same time, same place? That's where traditional office teams live. But virtual teams, they operate almost entirely on the right side of this chart, different place. And that forces a massive shift in mindset. You have to get really good at asynchronous communication, things like emails, shared docs, and voicemails, instead of relying on everyone being available for a meeting at the same time.
So that leaves us with a really big question for any project manager today. Which is more important, the how, the structure on your org chart, or the where, the physical location of your team? And the truth is, there's no easy answer, because the two are so deeply connected. The team structure you pick might make a virtual setup a huge success or a total failure. At the end of the day, you've really got to nail both of them to succeed.